Blimey, Dave, all it would have taken was a trip down to Superdrug for a bottle of Sultan. Look at your skin. You're almost certain to get at least prickly heat from this, mate. And so this is the loading screen for Knight Rider, and it's possibly the most interesting thing about the game. Unless you like the look of this. Or the look of this. Looks pretty insipid, doesn't it? How could this be, though? I mean, by today's standards of television, such as The Watchmen, Chernobyl, or The Mandalorian, Knight Rider has aged more poorly than those positive eulogies that Jimmy Savile got when he died in 2011. But at the time, at the height of the television action serial fad of the 1980s, the spy adventures of Michael Knight and the futuristic car voiced by Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World were some of the hottest shit since a phoenix took a dump on Uwai Scooty. So yes, it was very disappointing that the game ended up as turgid as it is. But let's get to that in a second. Knight Rider was an NBC Universal production that ran for 90 episodes over 4 series from 1982 to 1986. The show's premise is suitably nonsensy. A self-made billionaire takes a fallen police officer who took a shot to the Fizzog, gives him a new identity and a German music fan-pleasing face, a very interesting job in the newly formed justice-seeking Foundation for Law and Government, and then dangles the keys of a really badass Trans Am from the 80s around his eyes, and David Hasselhoff's eyes bob up and down and they go, "Yes please." The agent, Michael Knight, takes said keys and jumps into the hot seat of the technologically advanced vehicle, forming a sort of friendly partnership with the sardonic sentient AI of the Knight Industries 2000, aka the car known as KITT. And so began many 50-minute cases that Michael and KITT would always crack on a Saturday afternoon, bringing the perps, terrorists and ne'er-do-wells to justice. What a pair of good eggs they were. Knight Rider was a certifiable televisual hit, and so License Happy Ocean waved a check under Universal's nose, who cautiously sniffed their hand and then bit it between their teeth, and then they ran off to the corner of the room to chew on it for a bit. And this all happened somewhere in the height of the popularity of the television show in 1984 or 1985. It took a bit of time for Ocean's in-house team to put something out, some 1.5 to 2 years to be exact, right as the show reached its final series. And it eventually came out on the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore 64 and the Amstrad CPC. So what kind of game was Knight Rider then? Surely it's a thrill-packed driving game packed with machine gunnery like, say, I don't know, Spy Hunter or Road Blasters, right? Well, yeah, ish, kinda, partly. Any other words like that? I'll delay talking about that aspect of the game for a while, if you don't mind. You see, some of it is also on foot, as it involves the Hoff getting himself in woe as he skulks around in the shadows of various criminal warehouses, drug dens and shit pits. These are very much Metal Gear Solid for babies. Michael Knight, after losing his first face to a gun, is now very cautious about using them, which is understandable. When I burnt my tongue on a piece of tomato in a toasted cheese sandwich as a kid, I vowed never to put burning hot tomato on my tongue again, and therefore never put tomato back in a toasted sandwich. These things are comparable, alright? Losing your face to a bullet and burning your tongue on a bit of tomato? Good. So yes, he doesn't use guns. The villains, though, aren't very understanding of this, or very fair with their play with Michael Knight, and they do use guns, and they will try and shoot him, and they wave bullets around Mikey with gay abandon if they see him. All you have to do, though, is make it from one corner of the room to the opposite, and weirdly enough, it's just as easy to do this as it is in real life. And once you've done this, and surely you will, you'll find a clue well, I say a clue. They flat out directly tell you where you have to go. And once you've done that, you have a look at the map, you drive to the next bit, and then you do it again in a different warehouse or building. And do that a couple more times, and well, you've cracked one of the game's 5 cases. These warehouse levels are short, and as I previously stated, they're dead easy, like easy as putting on a pair of trousers. Now, they're not particularly fun either, but they're like Super Mario World crossed with Doom, mixed in with a bit of Street Fighter 2 to taste, compared with what should be Knight Rider's raison d'etre, its essence, why we're at this party, the driving sections. Driving kit should be amazing, right? Look how cool it is. It's a turbocharged, heavily armoured Batmobile. Instead, we get this. Driving down Route 66 is supposed to be very exciting. But if all the Great American Highway Adventure is this, then I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not keen, Karen. For one, whoever designs America's roads is mental. Having played this Knight Rider game, I'm now going to recreate, using a pen and a bit of paper, how a design session for an American road designer might go. And the worst thing about this mode is that nothing changes. It's helicopter after helicopter. Some choose to shoot, others sort of just hover around, not earning their criminal money. Some missiles just sort of hang in the air and wait around for a bit before deciding to descend and try and break your windscreen. All as you drive down this yellow road on a flat blue plain for what feels like eons. And nothing ever changes beyond that. Now you can choose whether to steer the car or to use the guns and let Kit do the other thing. But both are, well, not only incredibly dull, but even easier than the warehouse stealth missions. Somehow, what's even easier than putting on trousers? I don't know, looking at a cat briefly? Blinking? Kit is practically impervious. I could go and make a cheese and tomato toasted sandwich, stop halfway to remove the cursed flaming tomato, remembering my incident as a child, and eat it, all while half paying attention to the screen, and still finish the driving section with ease. It's no hassle at all for the Hoff. Reviews of Knight Rider were pretty dismal, with your Sinclair calling it a fair effort for a budget game, but for a full-price licensed game from a major software house, it hasn't got a hope. They gave it a 4 out of 10. Sinclair user, well, they were a bit confused. They must have been on the source, as they declared it as amazingly mediocre as the TV series from which it's taken, but it doesn't qualify for so bad it's good. Now that sounds like a pretty bad review, and if you look back through the review, they don't particularly care for it. However, they gave it a near perfect 4 out of 5. Crash, they gave it a 39%, stating that after an interminably long wait, it's a major disappointment, simplistic gameplay and nothing special on offer. Well, there you have it, a license with a ton of potential that blew it on a really simple, really boring, a really easy computer game. It's as bad as your children posting a video of you drunk and destroying, rather than eating, a burger. Okay? Thanks. Bye.